Here's what you said.
Hello?
Do you want to correct the record on the people that you
I never said.
This should be career ending. Do you know people don't even call me Clinton? I only say Clinton Jaws because Clint Jaws doesn't make any sense. Thanks for watching, guys. Last night, I'm in this motorhome and I'm watching CNN live. I know, who does that? I do it in case I find something, and I found it. It's uncomfortable and it's perfect. Is Jasmine Crockett, is she trending? Because every time I turn on the computer, there she is. She's in the house the other day, spewing out lies. Oh my God. Such an important place to be, and she's lying up a storm, talking about Jeffrey. And she gets it completely wrong, embarrassing. And Dave Rubin said it the best. I watched a clip of his talking about it, and I laughed out loud. And when I find something funny, I think you might too. So let's watch a little bit of Dave first, and then I'm going to show you CNN.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, okay, honey, I can talk like that too, and I can read a whole bunch of names, and there's all sorts of names that are on the Democrat side and on the Republican side, honey. I can do it, I really can. But it turns out, and here's the kicker to the whole thing, the Jeffrey Epstein, who you said donated to Lee Zeldin, well, sorta, you're in trouble now, because it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. This is the tweet from Lee Zeldin. Yes, Crockett, a physician named Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who was a totally different person than the other Jeffrey Epstein, donated to a prior campaign of mine. No freaking relation, you genius. I sort of just want to play that video again of her because I like when I can do that accent and I don't even know what it is.
I don't know. I thought he nailed that. Nailed that funny-wise. But you would think being in such an important place that you have to get it right. I used to give evidence in court. And I couldn't get it wrong. I can't yammer out lies. I'd get punished heavily. And then last night, Caitlin Collins, who I never agree with, but every now and then she goes at a guest, whether it's Democrat or Republican. And she went after Crockett, and Crockett's response, it's like a 17-year-old kid response. I want you guys to pay attention to how Crockett talks. Every now and then she goes to the side of her mouth. She thinks she's a bro. She's a wannabe bro. I don't even know what she's doing. But what I do know is it's fake.
My source tonight sits on the House Oversight Committee, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. And thank you for being here, because now this clock has started with the president signing this bill behind closed doors tonight. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, was asked earlier today about releasing everything. She repeatedly said, "We will follow the law." Do you expect that you'll get all of these documents by December 18th?
I do not. I absolutely don't expect
Kinda
that,
low.
especially when you start to say things like Pam Bondi said she will follow the law, because the only thing that we have seen consistently out of this administration, whether we're talking about the failed prosecution of Comey, and I'm saying failed because that is absolutely what I anticipate is going to happen, we know that they are always doing the opposite of following the law. Every time we look at those court orders that they have ignored, you know, they have literally put us in this constitutional crisis in this
The hell is
country.
on your head?
Because for the first time, we have another branch of government that seemingly
So smart,
thinks that
educated.
what other branches have to say, well, you know what, that's advisory. It's not anything that they have to follow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I don't expect transparency.
The president said tonight he thinks it's going to end up being really embarrassing for Democrats. Are you worried that it's going to be embarrassing for
I'm
your
not
party?
worried at all. I can tell you one thing, I ain't never worried about my name being in the Epstein files. So that's one thing that we can talk about. Number two, for me, it's not partisan. As somebody that worked in the criminal justice system, I understand what it is to sit across from a victim. I understand their stories, I understand the trauma,
Sure
and
you
I
do.
understand the lasting effects.
Wrong is wrong, right is right. And I think that is what we are missing in this administration. It seems like he consistently wants to give a pass so long as someone is a follower of his. That's what we saw with the January 6ers, that he decided that he was going to pardon. And then even after they got in trouble again, he decided to pardon them again. He seemingly only wants to go after people that he looks
If I talk real fast, I'm going to sound really educated.
at as if they are opposition. We in this country, what justice looks like is going after whoever is wrong, no matter their race, no matter their political affiliation, and no matter how much money they do or don't have in the bank account.
So you're saying, yeah, you don't care even if it does
I don't
embarrass
care.
Democrats.
I don't care. That's not what this is about. To me, it's not political. We need to make sure that we understand how it was that this was able to take place, and we need to make sure that we tear down those structures. We have an obligation as legislators to make sure that we do better by the people in this country. We need to make sure that there are no other children that end up in similar circumstances, whether Jeffrey Epstein is alive or dead. We need to make sure, because it wasn't just one man.
Infants.
This was a system, a sophisticated system that was set up. And so we need to make sure that there are no other victims going forward.
One Democrat who's been on defense over Jeffrey Epstein is Stacey Plaskett. She represents the Virgin Islands. She was texting with Jeffrey Epstein the day of Michael Cohen's hearing. Her questions pretty closely followed the text messages between the two of them to ask about Rona Graff, Trump's longtime assistant. You were defending her today, or in recent days, yesterday, and you talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
Hello? Before I play this is something I'm really proud of. Take a look. The holidays are almost here, and for families, that means excitement and a little bit of stress. For a lot of people, that means shelling out big bucks, and that can feel overwhelming. Especially if you're like me, you rely on credit cards to cover the basics. If debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to American Financing, but didn't do it because you didn't want to touch your low mortgage rate. This is what American Financing did, and that's why they're a sponsor of my show. They created the Smart Equity Loan. It allows you to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. It's not like a home equity line of credit where it can fluctuate with the market. The Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate. Every month you know what you're going to be paying. It's predictable. It allows you to use your home equity to pay off high interest debt, free up cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no fees, guys, to find out if you qualify. And I'm honestly not saying this because of my sponsor, but it feels so good when you free up cash flow and you put all your debt into one thing. I've done it a ton of times. Call American Financing today at 866-889-4244 or go to americanfinancing.net/Clinton to learn more.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC.
Her credibility.
Lee Zeldin, George Bush.
This should be career ending.
McCain Palin.
Watch what she says here.
Rick Lazio.
If you can understand it, you should talk
You
so fast.
mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker.
Idiot.
Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his.
Funny.
Do you want to correct the record on the people that you
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture.
Guys, she never said it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. That's her comeback. I wasn't talking about that Ronald McDonald. I was talking about the other Wayne Gretzky.
I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies.
No, I Google.
Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say.
Your Honor, I didn't have time to give evidence today, okay? So I had my team Google. I wasn't lying with what I said.
Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein.
That's all he had to say.
He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out?
Oh, my God. The second time of me hearing it, I still can't believe it. She at least wasn't misleading people. That wasn't a misled. How is she in this position? clown.
He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting
Clearly.
to mislead anybody. I literally had
Like
maybe 20 minutes
To Google.
before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not
a
know.
registered sex offender.
didn't
No,
know,
but I
Caitlin.
literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted
not
sex
at,
trafficker.
within 20 minutes, you could not find that out.
can't do
Not
proper
from
homework.
just doing a quick search on FEC. So number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein.
It was one of them.
But I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein because I knew that we would need more time to really dig in.
Well, Stacey Plaskett
would
was
you say it?
texting the Jeffrey Epstein that we're all
Correct.
talking about. You voted against the censure for her to remove her from her committees. You know, we pressed the minority leader Hakeem Jeffries on this last night. Maybe you don't think she should be removed from her committees.
Correct.
But why do so many Democrats seem unwilling to say it's inappropriate to be texting with a registered sex offender about what you're going to ask a witness at a congressional hearing?
So I'm not going to necessarily say that that's the case. Now, this is somebody that was a former.
I want you to see her face here.
I'm not going to necessarily say that that's the case. Now, this is somebody that was a former prosecutor. Now, I haven't sat down and talked about all the specifics of why Stacey was doing what she was doing. I know that when she got up and she spoke, she talked about the fact that this is one of her constituents. At the end of the day, what I know of prosecutors is that they are typically talking to co-defendants. They are typically talking to the people that have the best information. And what you had was you had the former attorney for the president that was sitting there. And honestly, we knew, or she knew, or at least Jeffrey Epstein presented that he was very cozy with the president. He had more information, registered sex offender or not. The bigger question is, why is it that the president was so cozy with a registered sex offender even after he ultimately ended up with some of his convictions? And seemingly, he had absolutely been on the plane with him. We know about the birthday card. The bigger question is, why is the president of the United States not the one that is in the hot seat
That's a
for
bigger
his
one.
relationship, instead of us saying, oh, you know what, we're going to take her off of her committee because he decided to text her. Stacey didn't initiate that chain. Jeffrey initiated that chain, and she took the information. Just like if somebody texts me.
Yeah,
for
but
a
she was
committee.
responding and saying, you know, what are you talking about? Quick, I'm up next. And then her
Correct.
questions were about Rona. But do you think that was inappropriate? I mean, would you text with someone who is a registered sex offender
I mean, listen,
about what you should ask?
I honestly know that he had never been convicted of any federal crimes at that time.
But he had been in jail already. and
He had been
got a
in
plea
jail.
deal.
And
Easy.
my deal is
She
this.
didn't know.
The Republicans are constantly texting with a 34-count convicted felon. So if it's okay for them to text him at any point in time, then I'm not going to say that
34 counts for doing a hot hooker. What was Epstein doing? Kind of different, Crockett. How is this not career ending? Her credibility is completely shot. Completely shot. It's a big deal. I don't think anybody's talking about it. That's a big deal. Well, Dave Rubin's talking about it. Anyways, have a nice day. Bye-bye. Go, girl.